All right, well, welcome to another exciting episode of Change Talk. In today's episode, surrounding scientific predictions, I first want to talk about some more material I've discovered with the help of Urantiapedia.org, which is one of the many resources out there to assist the scholar attempting to learn more about what the Urantia Book has to offer. There is no way I could do all of these videos twice per week without the help I've received through the various resources I've discovered online. After reviewing the Scientific Predictions Part 2 section of this website, I quickly want to go over some potential scientific discoveries that this 1955 published work got right, and then focus the rest of the video on exciting future predictions that might be closer to scientific discovery than one might think. There are a great deal more scientific discoveries that I haven't even mentioned on that Urantiapedia website that I strongly encourage you to discover for yourself. A great deal of them were omitted in today's video due to their level of complexity that I thought might overwhelm someone that is not an astrophysicist. With that said, let's get to the good stuff. Dark matter was only an unpopular conceptual hypothesis in 1933 by a Swiss astronomer, Fritz Zwicky. To help you get your bearings here, the first 3 or 4 sections of the Urantia book that included most scientific predictions was reportedly completed by 1934, making such then fringe hypothesis unlikely to make its way to Chicago, Illinois, without a little celestial help. Due to humanity already partially conceptualizing dark matter, the powers that be likely saw it permissible to reveal dark matter in the Urantia papers. As a friendly reminder, there were mandates that midwayers who transmitted information from other celestial personalities had to conform to, in order not to advance human society past its overall readiness. Today, it is now believed that visible matter that we see in the sky is now thought to be a minor fraction, which is less than 5%, of the mass in the universe. The rest of the mass cannot be detected by the human eye and is referred to as dark matter. This matter is needed for its gravitational attraction to keep rotating galaxies from tearing themselves apart, as it provides the extra mass necessary to produce the additional gravitational force needed to hold the galaxies together. As mentioned earlier, the first claim to dark matter came in the mid-30s, which was a fringe theory of its time, and it was majorly ignored by astronomers for decades due to their limited technology. Recent measurements made on a large number of stars in the Large Magellanic Cloud suggest that some stars would disappear for a short time. This clearly implied that some dark matter moved in front of the missing star. The nature of the dark matter is not precisely known. The Urantia book calls this subject the dark islands of space, and says that they are mostly dead suns located in 15.5.11. However, science has yet to explain why they're there and why there are so many dead suns. Moving on to human development, the Urantia book says that the human race has developed slowly by evolution, and by some crossbreeding with a pair of racial uplifters known as Adam and Eve. Even before these material suns came to our planet, the book even goes so far to suggest that life carriers chose the frog as the third life strain in which we had distinctly evolved from, found in 65.3.3. If this reality is true, perhaps it partially explains my fear of snakes, being a frequent predator of the frog and such an automatic response. The book also suggests that prior to our progenitors Andon and Fanta, found in 95.3.4, that there were potentially several thousand favorable strains that could have taken hold of some type of human development, found in 65.3.4. However, at this point in time, future human development will come from technical developments rather than evolution. In 65.3.6, it states,
"In a general way, man's evolutionary destiny is in his own hands, and scientific intelligence must sooner or later supersede the random functioning of uncontrolled natural selection and chance survival."
Consequently, the term life strains appear to be in line with referencing DNA advancements, along with such scientific intelligence likely representing what we're doing now with correlating DNA sequences, such as the CRISPR-Cas9 system. that uses a guide RNA to detect the Cas9 enzyme to a specific location to make a precise cut. Yep, if you're getting lost here, you are not alone. This goes way over my head. When it comes to interstellar space, popular science indicates that the sun was created via an enormous cloud of hydrogen gas, contracted by gravity and heated itself by gas compression until it was hot enough to become a solar furnace that is roughly around 27 million degrees Fahrenheit at its core, with 417.11 estimating this temperature to be roughly 35 million degrees. The Urantia paper suggests that our sun was one of more than 100,000 other suns that were also created from the same enormous Andronova nebula in 57 1.1. Their creation took about 2 billion years, and they were ejected from the nebula after formation. The after effects of this energy disturbance are being studied and used by science to justify the Big Bang Theory. However, through a Urantia Book lens, we know that space expansion most certainly isn't as simplistic nor linear as even modern-day science suggests. Modern science currently does not know about the nebula ejection process that jettisoned these 100,000 gas giants. After this sun jettison spiral phenomenon from the nebula, the sun originally was a solitary body, with no planets due to an almost centrifuge effect, literally spitting out suns in their isolative position. That is until another Angona system passed nearby and pulled enough matter out of the sun to form all the planets and then some found in 57 5.6. This process took about 500,000 years to complete. Much of the matter was recaptured by the sun, but the remnants formed the planets of our current solar system. The large planets were the first to form, and then the smaller ones. Consequently, these were the early stages that eventually led to our own solar system containing their 12, yes, I repeat, 12 planets that comprised our solar system, located in 57 5.7. In 1955, during the book's publication, Pluto was considered our 9th planet due to our inability to properly measure the amount of gravity pull of a planet at that time. And of course, finally having a real classification that was accepted by the International Astronomical Union in 2006. During this time, this criteria excluded Pluto due to the planet not being able to attract or expel other objects in its path. In layperson's terms, during this primordial soup of our early solar system, Earth, for instance, was either able to attract this debris directly towards the planet to increase its own mass, or had enough gravitational pull to change the trajectory of the surrounding space junk orbits. Fun fact, if we count the dwarf planets of Ceres, Pluto, Haumea, Makemake, and Eris, then a layperson before the year 2006 might believe that we had 13 planets. As was true back previous to 1955, and of course now, post-2006, the criteria of what makes a planet is in the eye of the beholder. In 57 6.5, the book says that the 5th planet from the sun was slowly attracted by the gravity of the giant 6th planet, Jupiter. When it was close enough through its irregular orbit, Jupiter's gravity pulled the 5th planet apart to create the band of asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. Science currently indicates that there was never a 5th planet, and that the asteroids are pieces of space matter, planetesimals, that never formed a planet. Scientists indicate that the belt will not be enough material to form a planet of proper size, let alone even the size of our moon. Some ancient astronaut theorists claim that a planetary collision shattered the 5th planet and created the asteroids. Others believe that Meldek, a planet that is recognized by several esoteric and pseudoscientific circles, indicates that this 5th planet exploded after a war that transpired with much of the remaining planet jettisoning outside our immediate solar system. Consequently, not enough information is given as to whether this gravitational pull process was enough for most disassembled matter to stay within the asteroid belt. Perhaps when this planet began becoming a dwarf planet, through its slow destruction, such a lack of gravitational pull swept the aloof asteroid material out of the solar system. but who knows? Speaking on how energy affects space, the Urantia papers indicate that energy is continuously being created in one central location known as the eternal Isle of Paradise, and is then downgraded and transferred by energy circuits throughout the grand universe. And that matter is being materialized from energy in many quadrants, even beyond the 7 superuniverses. After many manifestations and manipulations of these energy circuits, the remaining transformed energy eventually makes its way back to the eternal Isle of Paradise. Almost like a giant battery with energy emitting and energy returning to it. More specifically, we learn in 11.5.9,
all physical force, energy, and matter are one. All force energy originally proceeded from nether paradise and will eventually return thereto following the completion of its space circuit. But the energies and material organizations of the universe of universes did not all come from nether paradise in their present phenomenal states. Space is the womb of several forms of matter and pre-matter, though the outer zone of the Paradise Force Center is the source of space energies. Space does not originate there. Space is not force, energy, or power.
Modern science has a majority consensus discrediting the theory about continuous creation. But the accepted theory today is that all energy in our universe was created roughly 13.8 billion years ago in an instant and in one place. Nothing is said about the source of the energy, despite the conservation of energy is a major principle in physics. Apparently, following this concept, one is led to believe that everything came from nothing. In other words, science suggests that there was an extremely hot and dense state that exploded outward, failing to even account from where this original material or matter came from in the first place. An event so explained by the Big Bang Theory. This energy has been supposedly cooling and spreading out ever since, and has created the entire universe. Intriguingly, some of the newer experimental results are raising concerns regarding the Big Bang, especially with our new James Webb Telescope that can detect new galaxies being formed in the center of our universe. Perhaps this is the first evidence we have to suggest that the expansion of our universe is both dynamic and coordinated. Assuming for a moment that there was no Big Bang, where did all this matter and energy come from in the first place? The Urantia Book talks of a central energy source and energy circuits to distribute all the energy throughout such a universe. In fact, the solitary messengers, or children of the infinite spirit, were among the first entities to ride these so-called energy circuits. Circuits that are so powerful that they can inhibit two messengers from coming within close proximity to one another. In 23.1.9, we learn
there is a technical reason why these solitary messengers must travel and work alone. For short periods and when stationary, they can collaborate in a group. But when thus assembled, they are altogether cut off from the sustenance and direction of their paradise circuit. They are wholly isolated. When in transit, or when operating in the circuits of space and the currents of time, if two or more of this order are in close proximity, both or all are thrown out of liaison with the higher circulating forces. They are short-circuited, as you might describe it, in illustrative symbols. Therefore, they have inherent within them a power of automatic alarm, a warning signal which unerringly operates to apprise them of approaching conflicts and unfailingly keeps them sufficiently separated as not to interfere with their proper and effective functioning. They also possess inherent and automatic powers which detect and indicate the proximity of both the inspired Trinity spirits and the divine thought adjusters.
These energy circuits go from one central source to the major mass centers, superuniverses, and then down to smaller mass structures to finally arrive at the individual stars. The energy circuits eventually downgrade their energy so that energy from our sun is the physical usable energy that supports our life system. This energy gets both absorbed directly through our bodies and, of course, the plants and animals we consume along the way. In retrospect, the tree of life, or the shrub of Urantia, that was approved by the Most High's Neuralgia deck. literally tapped into this cosmic energy found in 73.6.4, producing a material fruit. As a fun fact here, what do you think happens when you remove the T, I, and A from Urantia? The garden of what? And 42.4.2, we learned the unique cycles energy goes through are dependent on the natural laws of the superuniverse and how this energy can transform from universe to universe. In one universe, energy may appear as light. In other realms, heat. Others, electricity, and moreover, magnetic fields. In one of my future videos on wireless networks, you'll hear me discuss the direct correlation with electricity and magnetism. But in today's video, suffice it to say, as is everything in our universe, everything is always in a state of flux or transition. And energy is no different, and the path predetermined by the infinite personality who cast it. With today's advancement in scientific discoveries, we have determined that the speed of light is approximately 186,282 miles per second, which is roughly 1 foot per nanosecond. Using the speed of light as a reference here, we learn in 23.3.2 that non-seraphim beings, or beings that are being propelled by their own force, can travel roughly 186,280 miles per second. Midway creatures, or those entities that help create the Urantia Book, among other celestial beings, can travel at 372,560 miles per second. Seraphim, who are also known as angels, can travel at 558,840 miles per second. And those solitary messengers we were talking about earlier can travel an unthinkable 841,621,642,000 miles per second. Now, if you didn't think that was mind-blowing, your thought adjuster, or that spark of God that indwells within you, if it should ever choose to leave your person, can travel to their homeworld, a Divinington, in the center of the master universe in a whopping 117 hours and 42 minutes. And of course, 7 seconds. Found in 180.1.9. At those speeds, it of course begs the question, can these entities even see where they're going? Thank you again for watching today's video, your continued support, and I'll see you on the next one.